Do you, like, from your research, do you think Jack and Bobby were really close?
I think that they were and weren't. The Kennedys all were close. They really knew how to bind together if there was an outside threat to them. Okay, $1 billion a year. So, and he's doing that all by himself. He ain't splitting that up like the New Yorkers, right?
We're bigger than U.S. Steel.
Okay, there you go. $1 billion a year. Not only that, how about this? Marcello controls the entire state machinery, where he would underwrite the campaigns of in a gubernatorial race. He would underwrite the campaigns of both candidates.
I can't, but like in a state like Louisiana where they'd be like, these goddamn Italians coming down here ain't gonna tell us shit to do.
No, he's dishing out the money. They don't care.
And they're like,
green. Don't ever forget that.
They're like, but we like you, Carlos.
Exactly. They could go Italians all they want, but if you got the money, that's it. So now he's dishing out the money. He's backing all the campaigns. He's got the mayor. He's got the police commissioner. He's got the prosecutors. He's got the governor, the whole state machineries. He had such control of Louisiana that years later, during the House Assassinations Committee in 1978, which we'll get to later, they asked Regis Kennedy, who was the FBI field agent in charge of Louisiana, who was supposed to be out to lock up Marcello. They go, do you know Marcello's the boss of the mafia in Louisiana? He goes, no. He goes, well, what is he to you? A tomato salesman.
Off with his head.
Okay, yeah. Now, he had, not only he really was a tomato salesman, he owned a tomato canning company. One of his biggest clients.
So it was accurate.
One of his biggest clients was the United States Navy. It was accurate.
Of course it was.
Right? Think about that. You're supplying tomatoes for the U.S. Navy.
Genco olive oil, Marcello tomatoes.
Exactly. It's a different world.
Yeah.
Different time, right? So they hold out. They go, we ain't buying in. Traficante, remember these guys. Traficante, Marcello, you said it. Mm-hmm. And Hoffa. Those three are the holdouts, right?
The Holy Trinity.
Okay, so they get into the White House. They squeak it out in Illinois and Texas. Like
and that was 50. We had it on the screen. That was 51 electoral votes effectively, which swung the election because Kennedy won 303 to 219 at the time.
Exactly.
If Nixon wins those two states, he wins.
There you go. Okay, so now they're thankful to the mob, and Giancarlo's going, look, I put Kennedy in. He's telling everybody. So on eavesdropping devices, he's getting heard saying this. Hoover has these illegal eavesdropping devices all across the country. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover.
How about that guy?
Yeah, incredible.
What a son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah, we could go deep into him, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not get off it right now. But
No. Bring me back to that.
Sure.
So at some point, they're in the White House. They put Bobby in as AG. Joe Kennedy tells Jack, you're appointing your brother. This is unprecedented. They're like, what? The press is united practically.
Nepo.
Go when you can. Yeah. Nepotism. Exactly. What is this? We've never seen this before. Has this ever been done before? No, but it will be now. That's what Jack says. So, okay. Bobby goes in as AG, and that's because Joe's law's word. Bobby said he didn't even want it. Joe's law's word. He says, Bobby's going in. We need somebody in there in case there's any talk about voter fraud.
That's interesting. Do you, like, from your research, do you think Jack and Bobby were really close?
I think that they were and weren't. The Kennedys all were close. They really knew how to bind together if there was an outside threat to them. They were a family first. So in other words, you could be 100% in the right. Let's say they're all hanging out in Hyannisport and they're all killing each other on the front lawn. If you as a neighbor walk over there and say, hey, your dog just ran through the fence and you better get him on a leash, the whole Kennedy clan will turn and beat the crap out of you and throw the dog in the water. Or I'm sorry, it's their dog, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying. In other words, they know how to
throw them in the water.
Exactly. They know how to bind together. They're a family first. It's the Kennedy clan.
I got it.
So were they close now?
Yeah, I had a buddy who used to go up to those parties.
I think, yeah. It's the Kennedys, right?
Heard it was a good time.
Yeah, but having said that, they were very competitive, and they competed with each other. So how close can you be when you're taught to compete with your brothers your whole life? You know, whether it be on touch football, on a test, we're sailing. I got to win the race. There's a competitive atmosphere then. But then again, too, if two Kennedys are trying to win a sailboat race against each other, when the third one comes around, they'll both sideswipe you.
Right.
And rip your sails down. they team up. So that's
Shake and
how,
bake.
that's, I'm being very hypothetical.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to explain that's how they were. So Jack puts Bobby in, knowing he has flaws too. So now Bobby immediately starts going after the mob. And he's destroying the mob. He's taking them apart. He wants to deport whoever's not naturalized. He wants to lock up whoever may have committed a crime. Doesn't matter. He's going after them. But he has a special vengeance for 3 people. Marcello, Trafficante, and Hoover. He's going after.
It was just them?
No, it was all of them.
I was going to say.
No, the whole mob across the country. He's going after all of them. He's going after Gene Connor, who helped him. He's going after Johnny Roselli, who's working with the CIA to kill Castro, which we need to get into too.
Yep. I did a really in-depth podcast with Tom Meyer.
Oh,
number
Meyer,
236
yeah. I read his book. Very good.
Yeah.
Yep. Credit to him again. Very good author. So far, every author we mentioned, even though I disagree with NASA, he wrote an excellent book.
Yeah.
All of these authors are excellent, done phenomenal work. And I use these sources, as some of the sources I will use, I turn to these people. But I went deep into my research. And I think I have to admit, I have to say rather immodestly, I think I even went deeper than all of them into research. Robert Caro, maybe not. Robert Caro's incredible.
Yeah.
But anyway, bring it back up to date. Bobby's going after every mobster. Doesn't care.
And this is like when he has Joe Valachi testify and all that, right?
Oh, yeah. So I debunked the myth, by the way, about Valachi in this book
Tell
for the
people
first
who
time.
Valachi is and then what the myth is.
So Valachi was the first. Okay, Bobby knows the mob exists. He's trying to prod Hoover into going after them. Hoover didn't want to go after the mob for a number of reasons we should speak about.
They had pictures of him.
No, I don't believe that. I did it really, really.
You don't think the mob had pictures of him cross-dressing and shit?
No, I think they would have came out, and I think they would have got more out of him if they did.
Interesting.
I wanted to know where that rumor came from, or if it was true. I wanted to either prove or deny it.
But he did do that.
I would say so. Yeah. I think he was. Personally speaking, if I had to say, I wouldn't put this in my book because you have to stay factual. But in a podcast, me and you chilling, I would think that he had a strange relationship, or not so strange nowadays, right? It's acceptable to be gay, but then it was considered strange.
Yeah, no, he was 100% gay.
He was with Clyde Tolson, I think. Yes. I think, they were both, they vacationed together.
That's true, yes.
They vacationed together. They took they have pictures of them together where it looks like a man and wife on his honeymoon.
Yep.
And it's a man and man. So there's probably Bobby was trying to prove that he was gay. Because back then, gays did not have the rights they have today.
That's right.
It was institutionally and societal unacceptable by society's standards. So Hoover was going to be tarnished as gay by Bobby. That's a whole other thing we could get into. And I found all evidence of this coming directly from the FBI. Mm. So this is interesting. So right now, we have Hoover, who doesn't really want to go after the mob, but for other reasons. We could get back to that.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.